All right, Knicks World, doing a video. Mad as hell today. The Mets done lost like 4 or 5 in a row. But the good news is, in a summer of long suffering, the good news is the Knicks have drafted R.J. Barrett, um, drafted a kid out of Michigan, um, Iggy Brzezinkas, um, basically shoring up a position or positions that we didn't have much quality depth in last year. Um, Wanted to get on and talk about the aftermath of the draft and what's on the horizon with NBA free agency starting Sunday, and also touch on a hot topic issue, and that issue is um, depth at point guard for the New York Knicks. So I'll start with the draft. Um, Going into the NBA draft, I had two things on my personal selfish agenda in terms of what I felt like the Knicks should go after. I felt like um, bullet point number one was secure RJ Barrett, period. I don't care if Memphis would have drafted him at 2, trade up to 2. Um, Thankfully, he slid to 3. Memphis got what they wanted in John Morant, but that's something for Memphis fans to talk about. In terms of a Knicks fan, we got the guy that I wanted. I was on Twitter. I'm Big Freezy. I was on Twitter maybe a year and a half ago screaming that the Knicks should tank for RJ Barrett. I got laughed at a lot on Twitter. The meme game was tough. You know, some of those gifts sent to or gifs sent to me made me want to put my hands on my imaginary Twitter hands on the Twitter trolls out there. But anyways, so I got what I wanted, and also I think the Knicks got what they wanted in RJ Barrett. Um, Basically, he'll be added to the two guard small forward position. He's definitely a two guard primary or secondary ball handler. Steve Mills said he'll get some run at both guard spots, which is something that I'm interested in seeing. He did his thing at Duke in stretches when Trey Jones wasn't able to perform, whether due to injury or matchup or ineffectiveness or whatever. RJ Barrett stepped up and ran the point some, took on the scoring load some, and I'm hoping that he can do the same for the Knicks. The reason why I'm excited about RJ Barrett, and I'll get to Chris Wilkes and Iggy Brzezinkas, but the reason why I like RJ Barrett is today's NBA is heavy pick and roll action. Even the setup on the floor, you'll see guys start off ball guys start off at the baseline, and bigs starting up top, going down to screen or back screen for wings to pop up top to get 3-point shots or roll to the basket to throw lobs or finish at the basket. Right. All right. So defenses have stepped up lately. They've gone away from trapping guys and have gone to fronting guys where basically you'll deny passes, deny pocket passes and things like that. But that opens up the lob game, and you've seen the lob game a lot. You've seen James Harden and Clint Capella eat off that. They make a living off that play where guys will generally front their guy to deny passing in a whole bunch of angles and have the guard penetrate and throw the ball over the top of defenders before the weak side defender can come and help. Basically, it's lobs all night if a defense can't stop it. But what it also does is bring defenders from the wings, from the corners to defend against the lob, and opens up 3-point shots. The corner three is basically what it opens up, because the corner defender tries to prevent the lob because and gets put in jeopardy. Like, one guy trying to defend two, and he has to commit to one. So if he commits to his guy in the corner, it's a lob towards the rim. And if he, looks to help, then, of course, it's a three in the corner. And if they're able to scramble back, then the secondary pass to the guy on the wing basically gets a open three. And you've seen it. And listen, I'm not Mike Krzyzewski. I'm just a Joe who played ball, who watched a lot of ball, and I can break this stuff down by sitting on my couch. Right? So the same thing with you guys. The stuff that I said, to some it may sound like a bunch of complicated, mumbo jumbo. To others, it's like, James Harden, top of the key, screen comes, guy goes to the basket. You collapse on Harden, he throws a lob to Capella. Capella's not open. He kicks out the three to PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker's not open. He does the secondary, the hockey assist type pass to Eric Gordon on the wing for a 3-point shot. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the analytics system will say that 2 missed 3-pointers or 2 made 3-pointers equals 3 made 2-pointers. That's basic math, but and that's the way that the league is wanting to go. So it's one of those things. I'm glad that we have RJ Barrett. Now, how does RJ Barrett fit into that? Here's your conundrum, Knicks fans. And you've seen this the last 4 point guards, whether it's Moutier, Derrick Rose, Brandon Jennings, Prigioni, Trey Burke, whoever. What happens is the Knicks will run the pick and roll, right? Our point guard is not savvy enough to get to the basket or slick enough to get to the basket to score, right? So what he does is look to throw the lob to a big. Well, the bigs we had before, Enes Kanter, Kyle O'Quinn, Lopez, whoever, we're not athletic freaks. So when you throw the lob, what they do is catch the ball, come down, and look to go up on a second jump. It's not effective, right? So that's not open. So we kick the ball out to the corner for 3, where you have random guys that can't necessarily hit corner threes, right? The corner 3 is not open. We kick it out to the wing to a guy, and there's not another 3-point shooter, and or like a Courtney Lee type guy, or I forget, Aaron Aflalo type guy who can hit the 3 in limited space. They're probably going to shoot somewhere between 37 and 40%, but those guys were not volume shooters. All right, so insert RJ Barrett. What, Big Freezy? Insert RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett is not a 3-point shooter. Free, what are you talking about? Freezy, what are you talking about? Listen, bear with me. So what happens is, say there's a Moutier running the point. If Moutier comes back, so what? I don't care. I just want the offense to run efficiently. I'm just going to use him because we've seen a lot of him over the last, year or so, right? So Moutier beats his man off the dribble, but is not fast enough to get all the way to the basket. And you've seen it. You've seen him stop past the free throw line and look around, pump pass, and all this stuff with his hands with the ball, trying to find a shooter before 3 seconds is called. So he gets there, and there's nothing for him to do except throw up the runner and fall on the floor. Knicks fans, you love to see Moutier falling on that floor. It's crazy, right? It is crazy, but it's not fun to watch. So here's the thing. Now, so Moutier gets into the paint, looks for a guy. Well, the defense has collapsed on Moutier. You kick it out to RJ Barrett. Now you have a secondary ball handler that can attack that same defense. Now, where they are, think about this. That pass goes to RJ Barrett, who can now attack that collapsed defense with the pick and roll and court vision. So whether the roll guy comes or not, you still have those guys. Now you have everybody that have adjusted. Now you're attacking the defense from a different angle. So we didn't have that last year, not consistently. We had it in spurts from Mario Hezonja. I mean, Mario could attack the pick and roll as a secondary guy, late in the shot clock, either create his own shot. And I'm not saying he made all those shots. I'm just saying he created one, which is a lot better than anybody else on the team that just jacked up lame 3-pointers at the end of shot clocks, like a Frank Ntilikina or whoever else. So now you have RJ Barrett that can attack the basket and get to the rim. That's his forte, a collapse defense with guys scrambling to cover the pick and roll. You kick it out to a secondary ball handler and RJ Barrett. Now what he can do is attack the basket, get his own shot, or create a shot for somebody else. Y'all have been killing Kevin Knox for being inefficient, but Kevin Knox tried to take on the role of primary scorer last year, and it didn't necessarily work. Not in long stretches. He did good in December. He did good in March, April-ish. In March he turned the corner and kind of got hot and got that scoring average back up. But now you have an RJ Barrett that can stretch the defense, and now it creates open shots. It creates a lob to our new athletic center, the one we had been missing. So creates lob opportunities for Mitchell Robinson. And y'all know bigs have to do a lot of work in order to score. They're not like guards. So you have to create that scoring opportunity for them and hope that they convert their opportunities at a high rate, maybe 60, 65%. Right? Now, what it also does is RJ Barrett being a secondary ball handler, depending on lineup, what it also does is the guys that are hit or miss, the guys that are often either hot, really hot, or cold, really cold, like a Damian Dotson, who we love that. I think the Knicks fan base loves Damian Dotson, but the fact of the matter is, the guy is he'll disappear for long stretches because he's not athletic enough to get to the basket. If he gets a few looks, then he'll definitely knock down his looks if he gets a handful of those. But if it's one of those where the offense has to come to him, he'll go missing for long stretches. What that also does is if you have a Moutier, RJ Barrett, Alonzo Trier on the floor at the same time, which is probably would be one of our more exciting lineups. What it does for Trier is gets him in one-on-one opportunities. So now he can't be doubled going to the basket. Now you have him in isolation opportunities, and that is his forte, ISO. So you get, whether it's a good defender or not, it doesn't matter. With Trier, Trier can create his own shot against anybody. Now, last year, it looked like he was a runaway freight train at times with the way he wanted to attack. Well, you can basically charge that to long scoring droughts when you need a basket. Nobody else will step up. So Zoe comes off the bench, and he wants to be that guy to end that 8-0 run, that 9-0 run, that 7-0 run that puts the other team up by double digits. You can't fault him for that, for wanting to have an impact. Knicks fans, y'all need to cut that out. These guys like Alonzo Trier want to have a positive impact. Stop criticizing everything that they do. The dude goes to the basket and gets his shot blocked by a shot blocker. So what? At least he attacked the basket. What's the worst thing that can happen? There could be three possible outcomes. He makes the basket, he gets fouled, or he misses. So what? So what? At least he went to attack the basket. And also with Trier on the floor, you have a third ball handler. So now because Dotson is not that guy, Hazonia was that guy against matchups. Vonleh was that guy against matchup. Big, square, broad, classic power forwards with limited athleticism but really strong. Vonleh can abuse those guys with quickness and athleticism. But what he couldn't do is guys that were stretch fours like him, he couldn't dominate those opportunities. So that's why he, in a limited role, Vonleh could basically do his thing. And a lot of that will open up with the addition of RJ Barrett, getting him easy baskets, getting Vonleh on the boards, pushing it out, maybe even starting some type of action where you can have RJ Barrett, Alonzo Trier, and Moutier, or whoever the new point guard is. I'm just saying Moutier for now, even though a lot of y'all have faith in Dennis Smith Jr. I do too, but you know what I mean. So the addition of RJ Barrett creates a lot of things offensively. Defensively, we are what we are, basically. We're a young team still trying to raise our basketball IQ, defensively. We gave up a lot of open looks last year, especially at the three-point line. A lot of that is basketball IQ. I just mentioned the pick and roll action where the guy from the corner is basically jeopardized. Like, do I stay with the guy in the corner or do I try to help prevent the lob? That's Kevin Knox. A lot of those situations last year happened to Kevin Knox. And it looked like he was really slow, but really what was slowing him down was his decision making. Do I go? Do I stay? Do I hedge? Do I try to play center field? Do I try to stay in between three guys, knowing that I have to be super quick back to whoever receives the basketball, right? So that was Kevin Knox last year. Y'all killed Kevin Knox for his defense. It was atrocious, but I'm not saying that it's athleticism. I'm gonna say that comes down to decision making and be able to read offenses in order to be better positioned on defense. It happens. The same thing with Mitchell Robinson. When say with Mitch, if he knows who's going to shoot the player shooting the ball, there's a chance that he can block their shot. But in terms of reading all the actions that are going on in front of him and communicating to Knox, no. Like an example would be the opposing point guard is headed to Mitch, and there's a roll man on the outside. So think about it like this. The point guard beats their man, right? And it happens. It happens to everybody. I mean, it's the reason why teams run the pick and roll, because the pick and roll defender is going to get beat about 80% of the time. I mean, it is what it is, because he's going to get bumped or screened. You know, two objects can't occupy the same space. It's science. So anyway, the opposing point guard is steamrolling towards the basket. Meanwhile, about 12 feet away, but equal depth from the basket is the roll man being trailed by the defender that's beat, right? And Mitch is there. Mitch has to make a decision. Do I go to the ball? Do I stop the ball? Or do I contest the lob? Well, what he'll say to Kevin Knox is thinking, hey, man, I'm coming down to help with the lob. Mitch needs to say, no, stay with your man in the corner. Point that out. Stay over there with him, and I'll contest these two guys, right? So what that does is leave Knox in the corner with his man, right? So when that's not communicated, what happens is the ball goes to the corner, Knox gets there late. The ball goes to the wing, Knox gets there late. The ball comes back down to the guy Knox just left, and Knox gets there late. And Knicks fans will say, well, the guy, he's too slow to play defense. We should move him to the 4. No, man, stop being ridiculous and stupid. If you don't know basketball, man, you need to ask somebody. You know, you can't. Nobody on earth can cover 3 guys in one half of the court. That's the dumbest thing I've heard Knicks fans on Twitter say. Knox is slow. He can't move his feet. He's not athletic enough, and all those different things, man. It's crazy. Knicks fans, just look at things for what they are. You know, it's decision making. If Knox stays with his man, the likelihood of a guy just going by Knox decreases, as opposed to Knox closing out on 3 different guys and being a step late every time. Nobody can do that. I don't care what you say. Don't tell me about Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant or whatever. Nobody can cover that much space. That's the reason why you have teammates. So the communication on defense will be better, right? Kind of got a little sidetracked with that, but that's something that I had to address anyway. All right. So Brzezinski, the guy kind of, he has an edge to him, kind of like he's got like a junkyard dog edge to him, you know, super confident, super high energy, super competitive. But he's young also, and he's a 2nd round pick for a reason. Knicks fans, let's not get it twisted. This guy's not, Brzezinski is not a top 10 potential type guy. Dude's a hard worker, and he's good in certain areas, and we should basically address that for what it is. A hard worker, with high energy. I'm not going to say high upside, because you never know. But if he does have a high upside, we'll see it in a little bit. I think he's going to be a rotational player eventually. Maybe by December he'll be a solid rotational player, and that's really quick. So I kind of have high expectations for him as a second round pick. And the reason why I say December is because the Knicks have a lot of guys, and depending on how free agency goes, he can be bumped down in that pecking order, or he can find a role and then be, a contributor in that role. And the reason why I say bump down in the pecking order is because you already know that Damian Dotson, Alonzo Trier, R.J. Barrett, who else? Dennis Smith Jr. Are all going to have minutes at a certain position. And then you have Knox and everything at the 3 and 4. So don't look for Brzezinkas to get a ton of minutes early on. He'll have to prove himself. He'll probably be like the 9th guy, fourth guy off the bench, because you have your two guards, and then you'll probably have another big to come off the bench, and then he'll be the guy to follow after that. But anyways, Brzezinkas, I think, is definitely, he'll definitely be around for a few years. I'll say it that way. And I'm looking for him to spend some time in the G League to improve on some stuff like defense, because hustle and heart are one things on defense, but having a high basketball IQ is another. And you also have to have the physical traits to be a lockdown defender. I think the gold standard right now is probably a healthy Andre Iguodala is probably the gold standard right now on defense. Right, in terms of Chris Wilkes, boomer bust. It's boomer bust. I don't know if he'll have an impact like Alonzo Trier. I doubt it. But he's definitely got high upside. If the guy reaches his potential, he'll definitely be a solid NBA player, 14 to 15 points per game. But at the same time, his game is so flawed. He's got so many holes in his game. It's the reason why he went undrafted. There are some things that he's really good at, and then there are some things you don't know if it's basketball IQ, a physical thing where he needs to get stronger, maybe in an NBA weight room, or basketball IQ, or he just needs time to grow in it. You know what I'm saying? Time to refine his skills and such. I would say this: don't count on Chris Wilkes this year. Look at him as the next 2 years like definitely a two-way player, maybe in his third year, make the roster. Something like a Luke Cornett style approach, like, G League, second year, have an off season, come in, find a niche, contribute, and then look to take off in that third year. And moving on to free agents. All right, so the question of the day, the topic du jour is, should we sign Kevin Durant? The question should be, what type of impact would Kevin Durant have on our roster if we were able to sign him? That should be the question. What is signing Kevin Durant going to do for the Knicks in the short term and long term? Those should be the questions. I am in favor of signing Kevin Durant. Selfishly, for one, it'll be fun to play with KD on 2K with the Knicks. So that'll be fun, just for the 2K is out there that play a little bit. Two, the impact of Kevin Durant on an RJ Barrett and a Kevin Knox is crazy. Just little stuff like have Kevin KD be a kingmaker. And I keep saying kingmaker. Basically, what I mean is have him drop gems on the young guys, and like I like to say about Kevin Knox. So Kevin Knox is going right with a defender, on his left hip. There's a guy in the corner, open for three, but he's 8 feet away from the basket. What do? Do you go with that signature floater? Do you try to attack the basket and dunk on somebody? Do you kick that ball out and curl back around to the top of the key thinking that if the guy doesn't shoot, at least you'll get to touch the ball at the top of the key. Things like that with Kevin Durant, a 6'11" guy, in the same. I'm not saying Kevin Knox it has the same skill set as KD, but what I am saying is KD can help him with stuff like that. Basically how to manipulate where Kevin Knox lacks a high aptitude for basketball is this. How do I manipulate the defense? Can I do it mentally and physically? Like, can I do it with a handle, with a dribble? Can I do it with body movements? Can I do it by game time situation? Say the Knicks are down by 7 with 3 to go, and teams are protecting against the 3-point shot. Does he just go to the basket? That's what I mean by game situations and moments and such. Same thing with KD and RJ Barrett. High draft pick, man, and still at knowledge. How do you, basically KD and RJ Barrett have taken the same road. Highly touted high school kids go to top programs in the country. And, how do I handle like press conferences after we lost by 20? How do I get my body in peak condition? Things like that is what I mean by that. In terms of with free agency, I would say this: pick a direction and go. It's like dinner, man. Don't sit around 3 hours trying to decide what you want for dinner, man. Pick something and go with it and eat. That's basically what how I feel about it, right? So the hot topic though on Knicks Twitter is Frank Ntilikina, right? I'm just gonna move away from free agency just to save y'all some time and such. I'll probably do another video soon, but anyways, Frank Ntilikina, right? I think he has the tools to be a solid NBA starter. Will he be an all-star potential guy? You never know. You never know because when you look at Kyle Lowry looked like a short, fat point guard with all he did was hustle. And people are like, at the end of the day, what has Kyle Lowry actually contributed? And I'm talking about Memphis Grizzlies, Houston Rockets, Kyle Lowry. What has he actually done? How did he impact the game? The box score, the analytics guys will be like, it's like he wasn't even out there, but he contributed a lot in a lot of different ways. What I would say is this: Frank Ntilikina is getting huge. I think by now this dude has to be at least 6'7", 215, something like that. And that's really big for a point guard. Really big. The question is, can Frank still stay in front of NBA point guards at 6'7", 215? Now, if he can, that means he has some type of freak, elite, athletic thing going on defensively, because point guards are so quick and have so much vision and so fast. If he can stay in front of NBA point guards, he's the point guard of the future. If he can't contribute on offense, he's going to be a defensive wing off the bench. And I don't see any minutes for him. It's one of those things that Frank Ntilikina has to contribute. If he can't contribute, then we have to look in another direction. So the Knicks have until December to pick up his 4th-year option. So Frank and everybody, all the organization, all the fans know these first 3 months of the season are crucial for Frank Ntilikina. He has to get out there and go. And I'm talking about 13 points a game, 2 steals, a block, 5 assists, elite defense, things of that sort. Because if he don't contribute that, why keep him around when you have Dotson, Trier, RJ Barrett, Dennis Smith Jr., Iggy Brzezinkas, Chris Wilkes on the farm getting better? Why do you keep a Frank Ntilikina? All right, so here's the thing. Knicks fans, I've been a Knicks fan since the 70s, and I'm telling y'all, cut out this point guard slaughter that y'all do. Every whether I remember being in the barbershop in the 70s, And Knicks fans in there were killing our point guards. Why'd y'all trade Clyde? I don't know why they traded Clyde. Well, at that time, Clyde was washed, man. We needed some youth at the position. As a kid, I didn't know that. I felt like it was the worst move the Knicks ever made. Right now, I feel like trading John Starks is the worst move the Knicks ever made. But you know, the same thing applies. Guards only have a certain shelf life, man, and then you have to move on from them. But since then, since every point guard, no matter, I don't care if it was Derek Harper, Doc Rivers, Michael Ray Richardson, Walker, it didn't even matter. You know, everybody is like, we need another point guard. The same thing with this new generation of Knicks, whether it's Frank, Trey Burke, Emmanuel Mudiay, Brandon Jennings, Derrick Rose, Pablo Prigioni, Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, Alexei Shved. No matter who handles the ball, y'all swear up and down it's the worst guy you've ever seen in your life. Y'all don't give these guys opportunities to learn a system, right? Learn a system. I got to throw Raymond Felton in there too. Raymond Felton, Jarrett Jack, Ramon Sessions. It doesn't matter. Y'all have to give these guys time to learn the position, get accustomed to New York City and teammates, and let them develop chemistry. No matter who you get, you know, it's you know, we want to slaughter any Knicks point guard, whoever. And I applaud the Knicks fan base for actually standing up for Frank Ntilikina, you know, because Knicks fans on draft night, as soon as they said Frank Ntilikina from such and such France and blah, 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 Knicks fans were like, boo, he's whack, he's a bust, before they even saw Frank play. Before they even saw him play, they were like, he's a triangle point guard. Before you even saw him play, right? Didn't give him a chance to develop chemistry, get used to his surroundings and such, you know? And it's the same thing, believe it or not. If the Grizzlies took RJ Barrett and we traded and we had to draft Ja Morant, Knicks fans would be like, oh, he's too small. He's a country bumpkin. He can't play. You know, this is New York. You got to be built for this. And all, you know, all the stuff that we say classically, the classic cliches and such. So I say that to say this. So Frank is bigger and stronger. The pictures don't lie. Frank is definitely bigger and stronger. Now, what about his offense? You know, he spent the last 2 seasons tightening up that handle that y'all criticized. Now the handle is beyond functional. It's not elite NBA handle, but it is better than what he came over with, right? Y'all criticized his shot. Well, the dribble, we've actually seen the dribble be better in games. You also criticized his shot, right? He's been working all summer on that shot. The results to be determined, right? To be determined. That's fair. Give the man an opportunity to work on it, bring it back. The one thing y'all can't say about Frank is that he wants to be a bust or he's lazy. The dude has been working since day one to improve everything, right? To improve everything. And he gets a lot of criticism. And us as Knicks fans should stop that and start to embrace these young guys that we draft, right? And I know New York is a right now city. We don't care about tomorrow. We want to win right now. We want results right now. I'm from Jersey City. I like everything microwave. Whatever it is, I want it right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. But as I get older, I realize that everything is not going to be right now. It's like with flowers, man. You plant your seeds, or not just flowers, but any type of plants. You plant your seeds and you water them and you take care of them, and eventually they sprout and they grow and they give you the yield that you want. And if not, then you take another seed and go through the same process. You have to trust that process. You have to trust it. Knicks fans, you can't just throw sandwiches on the ground and think when you come back in 2 minutes there'll be 10 sandwiches there for you. That's the most ridiculous shit I ever heard in my life. But Knicks fans always do that. They're always, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. But the Knicks fans, we hadn't won shit in 40 something years. But y'all want it now. You would think you'd learn. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm more of a Knicks fan than most of the people watching this video. I used to go get the Daily News from the corner as a kid, like 6 years old, and read through the box score. Ask questions. What does FGA mean? You know, all that stuff. That was me as a shorty. Like, like asking, like, Pops, why does this guy take more shots than the other guy? I thought, why don't everybody take the same amount of shots? All those questions as a Knicks fan, right? So you can't question Big Freezy, but you can question how we approach our fandom. Like, for instance, why are we in such a rush to win when we hadn't won in so long? We have to start have to start getting better practices as a Knicks fan, man. You can't just boo. You can't call Frank Ntilikina a bum after he took one shot. Come on. I mean, that's ridiculous. We got to do better. Anyway, this your man's Big Freezy. Holla at Big Freezy on Twitter. And I generally, if you mention me, I definitely answer back. And don't troll me either, because I like to get into it on Twitter, man. If for all y'all that don't have sense, but for the real fans out there, man, much respect. I appreciate y'all, and I'll holler at y'all later.